strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, it doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, so you know it already before we even get started. It does not matter who I am. It matters who you are, because you're hanging out here with me, or am I really just hanging out there with you? Because I guess in our reality, depending on how you see this, we have multiple universes. What? I know, very confusing stuff. Anyway, starting off right at the top of this lovely Thursday, August 25th of 2022. Day 237th of the year and only 128 days to go. Anyways, how have you been? I feel like we've been separated for so long, even though it's only been about 23 hours, if you really give it some quick math there in regards of us hanging out and doing the stuff that we get to do. Anyways, I'm having all kinds of fun as we get to hang out on this Thursday. Not so much because some people like to call it Friday Junior, because I think that that's kind of a silly statement, because we get to hang out for the next, depending on how you look at it, 1, 2, or 3 hours, depending on how you want to hang around and do the stuff that we do around here. Well, currently we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida. And then we're coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. Yes, because there is a multiple outlet to that whole thing. That is radio, podcast, and streaming all at the same time is the way that we do it. Of course, our preferred mechanism is always radio because, that's what we're about here, is the radio side of the house. Anyways, with that being said, we are also hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other side.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Hey, listen, the great part now is besides that you can listen to us on Safety FM, besides that you can listen to us on the Radio Big app, which I guess I forgot to talk about, which is also an Alexa skill. And we are also now available on the Radio Big side of the house on iHeartRadio, and I'm not talking about the podcasting side. I am talking about the live streaming extent of the whole thing. So look at that on how things have changed over the last little bit. Always some fun times as we are talking. So with that being said, I think we probably need to start talking right away about some of the stuff that it is going on.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, getting it in from the very top and going right away into the information that we need to talk about, because it is important to talk about some of the stuff that is going on. So yesterday was a big day for some people, and really it's going to be for a lot of people. Take a listen to this. Hashtag student loan forgiveness was trending on Wednesday. We can talk a little bit more about that here in the news in just a moment. Len Dawson landed in Twitter's top 10 trends as the NFL reacted to the news of his passing. Mamba Day was trending yesterday as the date 8/24 are the two numbers worn by Kobe Bryant. It's also one day after his birthday. And the Twitterverse reacted to the news that Nick Cannon is going to be a father again. Yes, I mean, I don't know. I know that some people have some entertainment with some of the stuff that they do out there, but man, it might be time to find some other things to do. You know what I'm saying there? So there you go. Anyways, if you're not familiar with the show, it's kind of a simple format on how we do some stuff around here. If you want to take a look at the visual, which I don't know why you want to put yourself through that kind of torture, you can do it by going to safetyfm.com and clicking on the aspect that says visual radio. Yeah, that's visual radio. We'll get you moving and grooving and get to see me for some unknown reason why you would want to do that to yourself. It's still beyond me, but that's okay. Anyways, with that being said, that's one aspect. If you want to interact with the show, it's easy to do that by clicking or going to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. It will give you multiple options on how you're able to interact I always like to tell people, though, if you do try to call in, I probably will not answer. But if you do the messaging thing, I'll probably take a gander at that, depending on what is going on. So our show is mostly based on safety in the news and safety, and then we talk, we package, I complain and bitch and moan and do all the fun stuff that I get to do over here on that side. I react to some of your comments that you do at callinradio.com, and then we take all this stuff and give you a big bow and package it, and then we take this show and we immediately drop it to the podcasting platform, that way, just in case if you missed anything, and we also put it on Safety FM Plus. I guess I really never talk about that, but I probably should, because Safety FM Plus is our, well, inexpensive format of being able to get safety information to you if you're so inclined to do so. And the first thing that you're able to get the moment you sign up, even if you do the trial tier, is you get a copy of Todd Conklin's book, Simple Revolutionary Acts, which is not the book that I just grabbed. It is that book. Yeah, Simple Revolutionary Acts. I have to tell you, that's one of my favorite books, probably of all time. And that's not a joke as I say that. But anyways, let's not get into all that information right now. Probably what you want to hear right now is what the hell is going on inside of the world of the news. So maybe we should get into that and get into a slew of a mess of things that we're going to talk about when we come back onto the other side.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. President Biden is forgiving some federal student loan debt. The move comes as a relief to students like Kaya Jones, who's struggling to pay off nearly $40,000 in loans after graduating 2 years ago.
It is a disgrace that higher education costs so much. It's inaccessible to a large population of the people that live in the United States.
The forgiveness offers $10,000 of debt relief for those earning less than $125,000 per year. Those who went to college on low-income Pell Grants qualify for $20,000 of debt relief. The move isn't sitting well with everyone, however. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell called it student loan socialism. The Department of Justice must propose redactions to the affidavit used to secure a search warrant for former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate by today. A federal judge set the deadline last week and has not backed off. Judge Bruce Reinhart earlier this week rejected a request from the government to keep the entire affidavit under seal, citing intense public and historic interest in an unprecedented search of a former president's residence. The Secret Service is getting a new department head. On Wednesday, President Biden appointed Kim Cheadle as the director of the agency, which faces scrutiny over missing text messages related to the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. A former member of Biden's security detail when he was vice president, Cheadle will succeed James Murray, who announced his retirement last month. At least 22 people are dead after a Russian rocket attack at a train station in Ukraine. Trey Thomas reports.
An 11-year-old child is among the casualties. That's according to the country's president. Volodymyr Zelensky said the attack wounded about 50 more. Wednesday's incident came as Ukraine celebrated its Independence Day amid the ongoing Russian invasion.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in the UK, I'm John Beaver. China is rolling out massive economic stimulus measures worth almost $150 billion. The German cabinet has signed off a raft of new COVID-19 rules in preparation for the winter. And Japan's Prime Minister has pledged to clear up his party's links with the Unification Church after it became a focus of police investigations into the assassination of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis has unleashed a verbal attack on the outgoing White House Chief Medical Advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci.
And I'm just sick of seeing him. I know he says he's going to retire. Someone needs to grab that little elf and chuck him across the Potomac.
The possible 2024 presidential candidate made the comments during a fundraising event in Florida. Dr. Fauci announced on Monday he is leaving his current position in December to pursue new ventures. At least 22 people are dead after a Russian rocket attack at a train station in Ukraine. Trey Thomas reports.
An 11-year-old child is among the casualties. That's according to the country's president. Volodymyr Zelensky said the attack wounded about 50 more. Wednesday's incident came as Ukraine celebrated its Independence Day amid the ongoing Russian invasion. I'm Trey Thomas.
Japan's National Police Agency chief is announcing his resignation to take responsibility for the murder of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. The decision cites the need for a fresh start for the organization and security duties. Itaru Nakamura is the most senior official to step down in connection with Abe's assassination at a campaign rally on July 8th. Celebrity chef Mario Batali is settling lawsuits from women he allegedly sexually assaulted, even though a judge had previously ruled in his favor.
I'm going to find the defendant not guilty to the charge of indecent assault and battery.
Lawyers for Natalie Tini and Alexandra Brown confirmed they resolved their disputes in state court in Boston. Tini's claims were the focus of Batali's trial in May. A series of 100 replicas of one of the late Jerry Garcia's signature guitars is going on sale for a hefty price tag. The San Francisco Chronicle reports the built-to-order replica of Garcia's Alligator Stratocaster is selling for $20,000. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Pop quiz, hotshot. During a heat wave, what's more important, air conditioning or air guitar?
Is it air conditioning?
Air guitar. The answer is always air guitar.
The Work Y Summit is an interactive two-day gathering that will bring like-hearted leaders together like never before as we discuss ways to better align HR, safety, and operations around one common goal: creating the future of work together. Day one will focus on self-performance with talks with leading experts on how to live and lead at our best. Day two will focus on organizational performance with discussions on what we can do together to break down silos and foster action. The Work Summit will take place at Coker Tire Museum in Chattanooga, Tennessee on Thursday, September the 22nd and Friday, September the 23rd. For more information, go to workzbe.com/Y Summits. That's WORKZBE.com Y Summit.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. She wasn't even really sure where she was at.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it. I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, we'll figure it out."
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Prepare yourself.
We are now being distributed on iHeartRadio. Listen on iHeartRadio app. Radio Big.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, there you go. 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this wild Thursday. So anyways, let's start getting into it. You want to know what's going on inside of some of the world of the news that you and I are going to discuss? Let's do that right now because I got the shit list in front of me. So here we go. Pending home sales were down nearly 20% year over year in July, meaning that about 1 in 5 buyers backed out of the offer to buy. Overall, sales were down 12.6% from year over year. Zillow reports that home values declined for the first time in a decade, barely down by 0.1%. Yes, I did say 0.1%. Pantheon Macronomics analyst Ian Shatterson reports that the housing inventory is at the highest level since 2009 and is expected the future demand to plummet for the next few months. So there you go. Anyways, last year, some students at the Cleveland State University were requiring to submit a webcam video of their bedroom before taking an online chemistry test. The policy was designed to prevent cheating. This didn't sit right with Aaron Ogletree. Yeah, one of the students who said that the policy was an invasion of privacy. He filed a lawsuit, and now a federal judge has ruled that the policy was a violation of Aaron rights to privacy. So here you go. For what it's worth, Aaron compiled at the time. Compiled at the time of the test anyway in order for it to be able to pass in the class. So here's the thing. That's what I always kind of find kind of weird. So all of a sudden, I have to give you like a runaround of whatever room I'm in because I'm taking a test. Because you might be potentially cheating. What the hell am I going to do? Put like poster-sized notes on the wall going, oh, because you're not going to tell if I'm looking up for a long period of time if I'm taking a test. Sometimes I wonder what people want to do with certain policies. Do they even think it through?
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, take a listen to this one because this one is interesting. Big slides are the hallmark of many state fairs around the country where riders hop on a mat and zoom down, baby. But this year, Michigan's big slide at its state fair, it left riders coming in a little bit too hot, if you know what I'm saying. Videos began to go viral, getting some pretty sweet air down the bubble down slide, creating safety concerns. Staff temporarily closed down and sprayed the surface with a little water to slow down things. Fortunately, no injuries were reported. Now, I don't know if you've been able to take a gander at this thing, but oh my lordy, were they taking some big air there? And listen, I will tell you, when I was a child and would go to some of these parks, because in Waco back in the day, they had a park that was called Lions Park, and they had this thing that they called the Super Slide. And on that Super Slide, if you were slick, you'd get some wax paper, put it underneath that potato sack, and fly down that slide. Boy, was that some fun times to talk about then. Anyways, let's continue talking. Has your drive-through order ever been so bad that you shot a clerk behind the window? Well, take a listen to this. Law enforcement in Dallas area town of Glen Heights, Texas, say the 19-year-old Christian Ellis first argued with the staff about his order. Then he got out a gun and fired it into the restaurant. No one was injured. Ellis has been arrested and charged with aggravated assault. He faces 20 years in prison. I wonder where the Christian name came from. Seriously.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, competitive eater Joey Chestnut has taken home another title, this time for downing a bunch of popcorn, set a new world popcorn eating challenge record. He ate 32 24-ounce servings. So think about that. 32 24-ounce servings of popcorn in 8 minutes, shattering the last record of 28.5 servings. Chestnut achieved the feat on Tuesday night before a AAA baseball game in Indianapolis. So you're telling me you did this at a baseball game, not even at the movie theater? Man, is movie theater popcorn so good. But anyways, what am I talking about? Anyways, here's how he described his strategy to local media. I'll be drinking water. One hand is going to go into the gripping of the right side of a handful and squeeze it just enough. One chew in my mouth and then slip some water and chug it. Maybe a couple of chews towards the end of the contest. My throat is going to be so tired that I'm going to have to chew a little bit more, and I might have to drink a little bit more water, and it's going to be a battle. Now, I have to ask this question, and I don't know if a lot of people have asked this question. Can someone tell me that after some of this competitive eating programs that end up taking place, can you tell me the facilities that these people get to use afterwards? Because I cannot imagine, what they're going to need afterwards. Like, what kind of bathroom are we talking? Are we talking porta potties? Are we talking serious business? Because I'm really confused if you really start thinking about it.
You are listening to a Radio God. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a Radio God. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Anyways, it's that time for some intelligence to make it back into the show. Let's bring in some Johnny Smalls right now.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Thursday, August 25th, 2022. The sell-off in equity markets took a pause Wednesday, but investors are still cautious ahead of the Q2 GDP revision and PCE price index, which is due out Friday. The revision to the GDP is expected to be an improvement, but that could be overly optimistic given the decline in the index of leading indicators, which has now declined for the fourth consecutive month, suggesting economic contractions continued into the third quarter as well. The news of the week will be the PCE price index, however, when it is released on Friday. Economists are expecting the pace of consumer-level inflation to abate, but there is a risk in the outlook. Even so, the annualized pace of inflation is expected to remain high, near record levels, and well above the FOMC's target rate of 2%. In this scenario, it will take a much better than expected figure to take interest rate hikes off the table, and that is unlikely to happen. Investors should be prepared for at least a 50 basis point rate hike at the next FOMC meeting. You could get the inside track at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for always dropping tidbits of knowledge that we definitely don't have around here, that is for sure. Anyways, the Dow, let's talk a little bit more about the Dow and what happened with some of the numbers yesterday. The Dow added about 59 points on Wednesday to close at 32,969. The S&P added about 12 points to close at 4,140, while the NASDAQ added about 50 points to close at 12,431. West Texas Intermediate crept up back to about $94.89 on Wednesday. Brent crude is over $100 a barrel at $101.73. The national average price of a gallon of gas is $3.83. Bitcoin had a modest gains on Wednesday, picking up about $77 in trading to about 21,590. There was, 2,765 flights delayed within, into, or out of the United States on Wednesday, and 218 such cancellations. So there you go. That's what was going on over there. So yesterday, if we're talking about some things that were going on inside of the charts, was a big day. Top Gun Dogfighter taking on the corporate media. Rules of engagement as follows. Ron DeSantis was making the rounds yesterday with some of his, we'll call it his Top Gun-like video that he decided to release via Twitter. I won't show the video because I just don't want to, but take a listen to some of the audio aspects.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your governor speaking.
Today's training evolution, dogfighting, taking on the corporate media.
The rules of engagement are as follows. Number 1, don't fire unless fired upon, but when they fire, you fire back with overwhelming force.
Does it say that in the bill? I'm asking you to tell me what's in the bill.
Number 2, never ever back down from a fight.
If I could complete the question, though.
So you're going to give a speech or ask a question?
Number 3, don't accept their narrative.
It's wrong. It's a fake narrative. I just disabused you of the narrative, and you don't care about the facts. It's why people don't trust people like you, because you peddle false narratives.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's jump.
So there you go, Ron DeSantis, Top Gov. Well, okay. I mean, hey, you have to do whatever you have to do to stay out there in the public. I guess that might work. Why not play off what is going on inside of, the movie theaters, especially with Top Gun coming out on Tuesday. Top Gun Maverick, that is, straight to video and DVD and all that kind of fun stuff. Digital streaming services, depending on what you're looking for. Anyways, let's get into some other news that might be a little bit more important. A new study used magic mushrooms to treat alcoholism addiction. Oh, let's take a listen to this. There's a new study out of NYU for treatment of alcohol addiction. I have Sarah Lee Kessler to tell us more.
It involves a pill that contains psilocybin. That's the hallucinogenic compound found in magic mushrooms. NYU researchers say it has the potential to help alcoholics get sober. According to their study, nearly half of the patients who received the drug, along with psychotherapy, were able to drastically reduce their drinking. 25% stopped drinking altogether. Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Sarah Lee, for that one. So psilocybin is going to be something that you can use opposed to having an alcohol problem. I wonder if you start taking mushrooms, if you start having the Mario incident, if you know what I'm saying there. Mario the plumber.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about some other stuff going on. A California man who was caught at the southern border with dozens of reptiles in his pants is pleading guilty to smuggling. Michael Kastner has more info.
Federal prosecutors in Los Angeles announced Wednesday that 30-year-old Jose Manuel Perez pleaded guilty to importing wild animals into the country. Perez is accused of smuggling over 1,700 wild animals worth over $700,000 into the U.S. Not all of those were in his pants, however. He was arrested in February at the San Diego border crossing with about 60 snakes and lizards concealed in his clothes. He faces over 20 years in federal prison if convicted. I'm Michael Kastner.
Just to smuggle some reptiles and sneak them into your pants, I mean, there's a lot of risks that you're taking right there if you really start thinking about it. But man, now all of a sudden go to the slammy-ammy because of you doing this. Probably not the smartest thing to do. But anyways, there you go. Anyways, the off-duty NYPD cop who was viciously attacked while jogging early on Tuesday morning is out of the medically induced coma and breathing on his own. Noam Layden has more information.
Muhammad Chowdhury spoke and ate for the first time yesterday as he lay in a hospital bed in the Bronx.
He has recovered a lot. He's able to, open his eyes and even able to talk and identify himself.
That's the 48-year-old's cousin who visited with him. Chowdhury was hit so hard by three men who mugged him Tuesday that his skull was fractured, causing bleeding on the brain. Police say the wanted trio have mugged at least 19 people in the Bronx and Queens since August 1st. Noam Layden, NBC News Radio, New York.
So there you go, some information there. Good to hear that he is recovering and what is going on. Take a listen to this real quick. Americans are using cash less. Predict cashless society very soon. Cash may be king, but it will soon be dethroned. Rory O'Neill has more info.
We don't spend cash like we used to. A Gallup survey asked people if they use cash to make purchases now as much as they did even 5 years ago. Today, 13% of us say they use cash for most purchases. That's half of what it was 5 years ago. 2/3 of Americans believe the U.S. will become a cashless society in their lifetimes. But almost half say giving up the greenback is a bad idea. I'm Rory O'Neill.
So there you go. Some interesting stuff going on right there as we are talking. Anyways, let's talk a little bit more about some other things that are going on inside of this news stories and stuff that we have right there. I want to make reference to this, but I don't know if it will have, an importance here, but let's take a listen anyways, in what is going on. I want to give you some information here, and I know that we're all not in Michigan, so let's make sure that we're clear, but Forest Hill Public Schools has raised the bus driver's starting pay to $21 an hour this year to attract more people. But there's kind of always some more info, so take a listen.
When I saw that it was $21 an hour, I said, oh, this is the right job for me, of course, and it's worth every penny of that $21. So also the benefits, the pension.
The Director of Transportation, Todd Sharp, says that they have over 20 new employees and have not had to cancel any routes so far this year. Thornapple Kellogg Schools consolidated routes after 9 drivers didn't return, and several people have been hired and are going through training. Forest Hill Transportation Director Todd Sharp is happy with the new bus driver.
We have not had to cancel a route yet. Granted, it's day 3 of the new school year, but we're just very pleased that all of our routes are running.
So there you go. So it's going to be an interesting teeth here, and this is why I wanted to bring it up, because of the pay rate. And with the pay rate going up there, how is it going to go out through the rest of the sections of the country? Now, keep in mind that we're talking about school bus drivers. We're not talking about those large vehicles that you see that's normally done by public transportation itself. Talking about the bigger buses that you pay the fare once you get on. This is talking about school buses. So some stuff to think about as we are talking. Now, this might lead us into some other directions here. So maybe we should do that thing that we normally do right around this time, because it seems like it's time to do so.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, main story. So let's do that. It is currently 32 minutes past the top of the hour. You are still hanging out with me on the Rated R Safety Show, in case if you're wondering, just to make sure that you did not get lost in a romance or wilderness of pain. So with that being said, let's talk for a moment. So we are starting to see some things change. Some things take, let's say some tinker trains going some directions that we didn't expect. Now, we are starting to see something in many industries, but really happening in our industry as well, of changes going on in management and employees and so on. A lot of it has to deal with pay. Now, take a listen. There are a lot of companies that are out there right now paying high dollar to make sure that they can keep you either employed or to have you to move to their company. So with that being said, I wanted to bring this up as some information and maybe some tactical information all at the same time too. What are you seeing out there in regards of changes? So here's the thing. Let's say, for instance, you are not super excited at being at your current employer and you're not happy, with one of the most important aspects of it, which it would be your pay. If you are taking a look around currently, you will notice that there are positions that are out there that are readily available that cannot be filled, that are in most occasions paying anywhere between a quarter to a third more than what the average position makes. Yes, the average position of whatever you're doing currently. This is just kind of this. We won't say airtight info, because airtight data makes absolutely no sense, but that's a whole other story. But there's information out there that is talking about how they're doing this to attract new employees to companies. So this gives you the availability of doing this, of moving from your current job scenario to go somewhere else. Now, here's the catch, of course. Let's flip that coin over real quick. That means that you might potentially be at a company currently that is hiring people, giving them their higher rates of pay to come in and to be portion of the company. That's good. That could, start off some new things. But what we tend to fail to look at is that this could also cause some issues with people that are within the organization. Why do I say this? Here's the reason. Some people don't love this idea. And the reason they don't love it is for the following reason. Well, I have been here longer. I have tenure. I have seniority. And I am not getting the same kind of pay scale that the new person that you just brought in has. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. That's the stuff to talk about. So this can have some major impacts into your organization. Also could be a benefit for you if you're trying to leave. See where the conundrum comes. Now, here's the question for you. Let's say, for instance, currently, you are in a position that you are able to have a large impact in the safety programs that are going on within your organization. Would you leave the company that you're with to go to another company, even though, let's say, for instance, you don't have as high as of an impact, but the salary is different? You know, there's a lot of questions that come up about this. Some people will leave for that, and there's no problem staying or leaving, so I want to make sure that we're clear here. But what kind of impact will that have in the organization that you're leaving? And this is where it comes back to one of these weird questions of some people see that it's right to do, some people see that it's wrong to do, but at the end of the day, how do you see it? Because that's the important part. The way that I look at it is if you're able to sleep at night, regardless of what your decision is, that's going to be the important portion. Listen, I think that the messaging of the stuff that we do is so important in regards of getting it out there. Is money the end all or be all? I don't know. Somebody brought up a very good question not so long ago that I was partially being able to take a listen to. Why is it that we as employees are expected to give a 2-week notice before we're going to leave a company, but in return, they don't give us 2 weeks before we have to leave if we're going to be fired? I mean, think about it. It's kind of an interesting twist on the plot on regards on how that works. So what do you think about this new environment that we're in with you having the ability of making more money or your company paying you more to stay to do exactly what you're already doing? Think about it. Good twist of things as you give it some thoughts. That is for sure.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Attention business owners. Are you receiving all the employee tax credits you have coming to you? A tax refund program provided for by the CARES Act of 2020 could be worth thousands. Employee retention tax credits, or ERTCs, are a fully refundable payroll tax. You may be eligible for up to $26,000 per employee per quarter. At Lifetime Advisors, we have a team of experts dedicated to the ERTC program. We work with businesses of all sizes, both big and small, to claim the money that they're entitled to. It's your money, and we can help you get it. Call Lifetime Advisors today at 1-877-851-0005. We'll send you a short questionnaire to see if you qualify. There is no obligation, but this is a limited time program. Don't miss out. Call 1-877-851-0005. That's 1-877-851-0005 to get the ERTC money you have coming to you. Lifetime Advisors.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Look through your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles, They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
There you go. This is Hometown by Kilrood. Songs readily available on Spotify and iTunes. It is currently 42 minutes past the top of the hour. You are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. Anyways, there you go. Thanks to Kilrood for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Songs readily available, like I said, Spotify and iTunes. Take a gander, take a listen to it. Anyways, we got some more beat to cover just for you right now. So anyways, as you know, as we hang out and do stuff, I always, and I mean always, have to talk about this with you because it's important to me. And I hope that at some point, if it's not already, it's important to you. And that's about my friends at 9888 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can help you prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you and your loved ones, and the best practices for professionals in the United States. Now, listen, I know for a long time we talked about 1-800-273-TALK. Number still readily available. You can call that number if that's the one you remember. Or you can just dial 988, and that will get you there as well. Or you can text the word TALK to 988, and that will get everything rolling and bowling for you. Or you can go to their website at 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org, and that will get everything moving for you. That's the important part as we are talking, so don't worry about it. We will always talk about this subject as long as you and I are hanging out together. Listen, let's take the stigma out of the conversation and make sure that we all understand that we all have needs at different times in our lifetime. And maybe it doesn't apply to you today, but it could be applied to you later on or someone you know. Keep that in mind as we are talking. Let's get into some more stuff about what is going on inside of this lovely world of ours, because that's what we do here. We try to cover what is going on inside of the world of the news. So, should we talk about this? Should we talk about the eatitude? Yeah, the eatitude. They don't call the most important meal of the day for nothing. Young people who eat healthy breakfast at home have better psychological health, which means involving both psychology and social aspects, according to a recent study from Frontiers Nutrition. The team of researchers, using data from the 2017 Spanish Health Survey of almost 4,000 people aged between the ages of 4 and 14, found that eating breakfast away from home is nearly detrimental as skipping the meal entirely. While previous research has reported that its important role of nutritional breakfast, this is the first study to look at the report's effects of whether kids eat breakfast, as well as where and how and what they eat. The author suggested finding this is because the meals away from home are frequently less nutritious and that can, than those prepared at home. So let's take a look at that. The results showed that coffee, milk, tea, chocolate, cocoa, yogurt, bread, toast, cereals, and pastries are all associated with a lower chances of behavioral problems. Surprisingly, eggs, cheese, and hams were linked with higher risk of such issues as well. And what about all of the above? Asking for a friend, of course. And man, if pastries were actually less likely to exhibit behavioral problems, I'd hate to see what Sheldon Primus would be like without, his 4 Pop-Tarts for breakfast. So, I mean, that's just something to talk about. Anyways, hello, Mr. Sheldon out there in Michigan, going out there and around and about. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking real quick about some other stuff, because I think it's always important for us to talk about things that are important here. So think about that as we are talking. Let's talk about Did You Know real quick. The person who leaves behind an online trail of 9,828 photos, 10,811 social media posts, and 126 email addresses over a lifetime. One poll surveys of 2,000 adults revealed that the average person shares over a third of their life online, 36%, which is also viewable long after they die. Researchers found that the average adult shares about 276 posts on Instagram, 170 on Facebook, 141 tweets every year. That amount is about just 17,369 Insta, 10,680 Facebook or Fbook, and 8,911 Twitters or tweets, respectively, over the average lifetime. So there you go. If you ever wanted to know how social you can be, I guess that will do it for you.
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's get into some more news and talk about some things that are going on inside of this world. Let's get into the political realm real quick, because we talked about DeSantis earlier. So let's talk about Crist. Florida Congressman Charlie Crist is slamming incumbent Governor Ron DeSantis ahead of their midterm election duel.
I mean, he's just a mean-spirited guy. And I'm the opposite of that. I'm a happy warrior. I love people. And he spews hate all the time.
He told MSNBC that Floridians are ready to move from DeSantis, who previously served as governor of the Sunshine State as a Republican, cited DeSantis' unwillingness to condemn hate rhetoric from supporters and his stance on abortion. This comes after now Democrat won Tuesday primary, setting up for a November battle. Chris has already told DeSantis supporters that he doesn't want their vote. So Florida Congressman Charlie Crist says it's time for a change.
I think Floridians have had his act enough. They're ready to move on. I think they're ready to have somebody experienced who actually has been governor.
So there you go. I mean, let me explain what I'm doing here, because I don't like going into the swamp ampa, but we just did. But I want to make sure that I give you both sides of the coin opposed to one side of the coin. So there you go. There's some shared stuff here on this station, which I normally don't do that shit, but too late now. Anyways, the Uvalde School Board is voting to fire Police Chief Pete Arredondo.
Mr. Board President, I move that good cause exists to terminate the non-certified contract of Pete Arredondo effective immediately.
The board members, Laura Barris, announcing the decision. The board gathered on Wednesday to discuss his potential firing as a result of the response to the deadly Robb Elementary school shooting back in May. Arredondo did not attend the meeting, but instead requested to be reinstated through his attorney. About 100 people gathered at the meeting, some chanting "coward." The board deliberated before unanimously voting to fire Arredondo. Robb Elementary student Caitlin Gonzalez Gonzalez was at Wednesday's meeting and spoke out ahead of the announcement of the firing.
I have messages for Pete Arredondo and all the law enforcement that were there that day. Turn in your badge and step down. You don't deserve to wear one.
Brett Cross lost his 10-year-old son at Robb Elementary and took issue with the school board retreating to the closed session to deliberate.
Our babies are dead. Our teachers are dead. Our parents are dead. The least y'all can do is show us the respect to do this in the public.
So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. So some things that you'll probably be hearing about in segments of what is going on inside of the world of the news right there. That is for sure. Anyways, the NYPD is not making it easy to get concealed carry permit now that the Supreme Court has ruled that the law concerning concealed carry permits in New York was unconstitutional. Gun owners will have to hand over the NYPD 4 character references and a list of social media accounts that they have used in the last 3 years. They will also have to sit in a prison interview and undergo a firearm safety course. NYPD captain says that those who receive the green light for a concealed carry permit will be watched.
The people who are following the law and doing everything they can, yes, we're still going to pay attention to them, because you never know. And one day they could snap, one day they could do something irrational.
Once a permit is handed out, gun owners will not be allowed to carry in sensitive or high traffic areas like Times Square, mass transit, or in bars. So there you go. It's going to be some interesting times to take a look at what the hell's going on with that. Let's just not lie about it. Anyways, with that being said, I think it's time for us to bring in some John Smalls again and let him tell you what is going on inside of the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Shannon. Wayne Gretzky said, "Procrastination is one of the most common and deadliest of diseases, and its toll on success and happiness is heavy." I can speak to this one for sure. I am a bit of a procrastinator myself. I don't mean to be, but sometimes I overcommit. Then I run short of time, then I fall behind. It's a vicious cycle that can be hard to break. Something I did a while back to help in my situation, I learned to say no. It was hard to do because I love to say yes. But there have been some opportunities that I've turned down along the way. Even though they were great opportunities, I was happy to give those opportunities to someone else. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. When it comes to alcohol consumption, the mental and physical effects of alcohol are due to the changes in neurochemicals that alcohol creates in the brain, and that's due to its toxic effect on cells. When we ingest alcohol, it's converted into a toxin, and then the toxin has to be converted into empty calories, else a process that relies on an enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase. Some people naturally make a lot of these enzymes, while others make very little of them. Regardless of the amount of alcohol metabolism enzymes one makes, the toxic effects of alcohol remain. What this means is that people who can drink a lot due to genetics or tolerance may seem like they can handle their drinking better, but they simply mask the toxic effects it's having. For more information on wellness, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
If you're rocking with us while working from home, we have one thing to say to you. Dude, nice work, PJs.
So as you can see, we've hit our targeted third quarter numbers as well.
Bill.
What?
Really love your Iron Man onesie.
Thank you.
Rocking your workday, whatever it looks like.
Okay, there you go. We are back inside of the move and the groove of things. It is currently 54 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to RadioBig.fm. If you want to come out and hang out over there, I'll be hanging out for the next couple hours or so, doing the music stuff that we get to do on that side of the equation. So just for information purposes right there, if you want to come and hang out. If not, you can keep it locked right here on Safety FM, and they will take you down the path of safety that you might be looking for. Anyways, no winner for Tuesday night's Mega Million drawing. Friday night's drawing will be for $135 million jackpot or a $75.8 million cash payout, depending on how you want to play the game. You can do so in either fashion. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about some other stuff relatively quick because we got a little bit more time. Let's squeeze this one in real quick. Ventura County is hiring hundreds of people that seem interested in jobs. Daniel Martindale has more info.
On Wednesday, the Ventura County Human Resources Department hosted a career and job fair from the Government Center. Several of the county's 25 agencies were represented for the hundreds in attendance. They included administration, engineering, planning, agriculture, healthcare, law enforcement, and public works. Several of the people who hire for those agencies were there at the career and job fair as well. Some of the county agencies say they need to hire people right away. I'm Daniel Martindale.
So there you go. If California is on the path for you, there you go. There's some stuff to do right there. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. And if we go all the way back to, let's go back to 2019. NASA investigates the first crime committed in space. Astronaut Anne McClain assessed her estranged wife's Summer Warden bank account during her 6 months mission aboard the International Space Station. McClain admitted to accessing the account, but said there was only to monitor the finances to make sure that her ex had enough money to care for her son. There is no sign that the money had been withdrawn or spent. In a dramatic turn of events, a federal investigation would discover that Warden was not telling the whole truth about the incident, and she ended up with charges of lying to federal authorities. So there you go. I guess it's not good to lie to the cops. Think about that. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about some birthdays today. Blake Lively. Oh, yes, that Blake Lively turns 35 today. Kel Mitchell turns 44. Joe D. Messina turns 52. Rachel Ray. Yes, Rachel Ray turns 54. Tom Hollander, 55. Billy Ray Cyrus, 61. Tim Burton, 64. Elvis Costello turned 68. And Gene Simmons turned 73 today. So there you go. There's some birthdays that are going out and around. And if you're looking at some days to celebrate, I have some of those for you as well. Today is Banana Split Day, National Whiskey Sour Day, National Kiss and Make Up Day with whoever. I mean, I'm just trying to ask. And National Second Hand Wardrobe Day. So there you go. All kinds of fun stuff to be able to gander about if you're so inclined to do so. Anyways, if you need a random joke for today, I got one of those for you. I'd like to read an audio book that's 8 hours of breathing, page turning, then right at the end it'd say, "Oh, you mean out loud." If you need a phone starter for today, try this. Where is the worst place you have been stuck for a long time? If you need something for the water cooler, try this one. 10% of married couples met their spouse here. Where is it? Elementary school. And no, hopefully you're not saying that they were a parent to another kid. Oh, you get the joke. Anyway, so there you go. That's going to sum it up our time together. Thanks for hanging out, because it's always important when we get to do this. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, we couldn't do what we do around here. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. Anyways, if I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. Think about that. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.